Hey everyone, and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. I'm Justin, and I don't have any family members that are this rich, so this can't happen to me. Teehee.
I'm Nico, and tonight I'm Ninikoko.
Well, I'm Dan, the 414 Ghost.
Oh.
And today we're here to discuss 13 Ghosts, stylized.
No, we're not.
Style name as
Thir13en
Ghosts.
There you go. Come correct.
Always. This is starring Matthew Lillard as Dennis, Tony Shalhoub as Arthur, Raw Digga as Maggie, Shannon Elizabeth as Kathy, and F. Murray Abraham as Cyrus. So we open with eccentric rich guy Cyrus and local psychic Dennis. Along with an entire crew of people, the pair are attempting to catch a ghost for reasons only beknownst to Cyrus. Now, many members of the crew are maimed or killed, but the ghost is finally caught. Unfortunately, Cyrus is also killed in this process. Apparently. We then swap over to Arthur, a widower who lives with Kathy and Bobby, his two children, and Maggie, the babysitter. It's worth pointing out as well that, Bobby's like a little kid, and Kathy is like college age. So the family is going through tough times, but things change when Cyrus's lawyer arrives to tell Arthur of Cyrus's demise. And Arthur's apparently getting a big inheritance, which includes Cyrus's mansion. The family's very excited, and they actually head out with the lawyer to view the estate. So, Nico, what happens next?
So when they arrive, they see the Property Brothers there, and they get a nice little tour of the house before they sign on, and everything's fine, and nothing bad happens.
Really?
No. When they arrive, the group runs into Dennis, who is masquerading as an electrician, and they all head inside. The house is full of corridors and extremely durable soundproof glass, which has strange writing all over it. Kind of like the end of Assassin's Creed 1, to those of you who remember that one.
Oh, yeah, when you use the Eagle Vision, you could see this.
Yeah.
You're right,
Maybe that's where they got it. Huh.
Yeah,
anyway.
carry on.
And so the family is mesmerized just because I guess they've never been in a truck stop bathroom and seen writing on the wall and shit like that. Against Arthur's wishes, then, the family splits up literally right after he says not to do it, and Dennis heads into the basement. Dennis, the psychic that he is, quickly realizes that the basement is filled with ghosts that have been locked up, won't let me out. He sprints to go tell Arthur and Akon, who's totally in this movie, unbeknownst to the group. Unbeknownst. Fuck you, Justin. The lawyer heads down to the basement, and he also gets murked in the most violent thing you'll ever see involving a door. Meanwhile, Arthur goes to find his family, but Bobby has unfortunately been lured into the basement with such siren calls as, "Come down to the basement, Bobby." It was that easy. Meanwhile, Arthur goes to find his family, but I just read that line, and undeterred, the family and Dennis head down to rescue him.
I just want to point out, not only was there just a voice going "Come down here, Bobby," there was another voice that sounds like his mom that's saying, "No, Bobby, don't go down in the basement." And then he's like, "I guess I'll go down."
This kid fucking sucks. He's so dumb.
But here to rescue us is Dan, because Dan's also like Arthur. He's going to save us, the children of the podcast. Dan, what happens next?
I hope I save the children of this podcast.
Save us, Father Dan.
Pretty loudly.
Oh?
Well, in the basement, the group encounters a series of nightmarish events as they run into a multitude of ghosts, about 12 of them.
But wait, you might be thinking, that's not the movie's title.
During one attack, they are rescued by an occultist named Kalina. Now, Kalina informs them that the house is not actually a house, rather, it's a machine that is being powered by 12 ghosts in order to connect to hell to be able to see the future and past. Yeah, really. So, she also tells Arthur that if he sacrifices himself, becoming the 13th ghost, to save his children,
no, you fucked up. It's not the 13th.
Oh, Thir13en Ghosts.
Thank you.
He will save his children through the power of love, which will overpower the ghosts and destroy the machine. Alternatively, they could just use a bunch of C4 that Kalina has to blow the shit out of the house.
So much.
Why they didn't do that, I don't know, but whatever. So now the group set out to destroy the machine, but they're attacked by the ghosts. Dennis dies and Kathy is kidnapped. Also, Maggie is knocked out by Kalina, who turns out to be a total traitor. Also, Cyrus isn't really dead, and he's here too. As the 12th ghost heads to the machine to complete the ritual, Maggie wakes up and starts messing with the machine's controls, DJing a little bit, scratching the tapes, on the ones and twos, disrupting the ritual. The ghosts turn on Cyrus, killing him. Arthur rescues his children as Dennis's ghost nods reassuringly. The movie ends with the family leaving the house. Actually, no, they don't leave the house. The ghosts leave the house, but they're still in the fucking house.
Yeah, they're still
true.
fucking there.
True. So real quick, before we get any further, Dan, we've mentioned the joke a couple times. Why don't you explain to the audience why we keep calling this Thir13en Ghosts?
So the title of this film is kind of stylized. So it is spelled Thir13en Ghosts. So 13, but we always call it Thir13en Ghosts.
Kind of a horrible way to really stylize that. I feel like there's better ways to do it. But we're not here to talk about that right now. We want to talk about how this movie looks and how it sounds. So I'll go ahead and lead off here. I like the way this movie generally looks in terms of the set design. I like the set design. I think it's a cool kind of appearance. It's not something you see every day with like all the clear corridors and stuff like that. It does look kind of cool, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. I question if the family is really like, oh, this is fucking awesome. Like, dude, who wants to live in a house like that? But I like the set design and everything else. One negative for me was definitely how there's so much like jump cuts and so many jumps and kind of weird editing at times. To me, it really interrupted my enjoyment. Like when a ghost pops onto the screen, especially at like the beginning and middle of the movie, it just starts going back and forth. And it's like the ghost is there, the ghost is in there, the ghost is there, the ghost is in there. And like, I really wasn't a fan of that. I thought that was really distracting. It made it difficult to follow. There one or two weird cuts. Like people would just sometimes like leave the room and it'd be like, where'd this person go? Like when the lawyer left to go to the basement, I had to like do a quick double take. Cause like, wait, where the fuck did he go? How did no one ask him where he was going? So that was probably the one downside for me there. Nico, how'd you feel about the looks of the movie?
I think the designs of the ghosts were really cool. I think that the overall look of the house in general was really cool. I think the rest of this movie looks like they took a reel of film and fed it down a garbage disposal. There is just so many fucking cuts that are unnecessary. It's like they handed the final product to Wolverine circa Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and he just went, Swiss cheese, over and over again with this fucking X Factor shit. Because my God, this movie is impossible to follow. Like all the corridors look the same. And I get that it's a vibe, they got this millionaire fucking looking house, some shit that you would see like, I don't know, Critical on YouTube be like, yeah, this is a really dumb house that someone bought for $24 million. Let's take a look at this shit. All right, peace. And it would be a funny video because like who would actually live there? But it doesn't look good. I'm sorry.
All right, well, Dan, why don't you go ahead and drop your load in this here split.
Wow.
Dan, why don't you go ahead and
wow.
Let us know what you think.
Turn on those ghosts, Dan.
Let us know, Dan, what do you think?
Y'all remember Kevin Little?
No. Dan, can you please deposit your thoughts?
Well, I don't have anything quite as colorful to say as Nico did there, or as eloquently. However, I actually like the visuals a lot. I thought they looked pretty fucking cool, especially considering this came out in 2001, 20 years ago.
Fuck.
I thought
21 years ago.
21 years ago. It could drink. I thought it looked pretty fucking good. There's just a lot of really cool set design, a lot of cool ghost design. Yeah, I just really dug it.
I also, Dan, want to real quick get your thoughts on the sound design too. So how is this movie in terms of sound?
I thought it sounds great too.
Mm.
I like the score. The score is just a lot of orchestral music. The sound design for it with the creatures and the monsters, the ghosts, all that, I thought sounded pretty good.
I tend to agree with you. The one thing that really stood out to me, and this was more so in the opening scene, I thought the score was kind of weird in that one opening scene because at times to me it sounded more kind of fantastical.
It was really
And-
bombastic.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I literally wrote down bombastic. And literally when it was playing, I was like, I get it. It's like scary. It's like meant to be horror, but then like it also sounds maybe like a little bigger than I thought it should have.
Would
in
you say that the
certain
soundtrack
moments.
shines almost
It's
metaphorically?
shown bombastically.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like, I guess that was just my thought. But aside from that, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. But Nico, I want to go ahead and see what you've got to offer here.
So the only other thing I can offer in terms of the sounds department has to do with the dialogue. It's fucking bad.
Yeah, it is.
The
my God.
script in this is awful. Oh my God. Like, credit where credit is due. Every scene where Matthew Lillard is on screen, he delivers his lines in an incredibly charismatic manner, and he really steals the show. He was my favorite part of the movie, but like, there's a scene where there is a 5-minute back and forth between him and Tony Shalhoub that's just, they're ghosts, man! Revenants! Wraiths! You heard of them? Ghosts? Huh? And then Tony Shalhoub goes, ghosts? What? And it's like, come on, you could have done so much better. These are not bad actors.
No. And I'll have to double check this. I don't know when Monk came out.
He came out next year, which he won like a bunch of awards for. Like a bunch of awards.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that was my thought process. I was like, granted, that was my first introduction to Tony Shalhoub. And I was like, okay,
Same.
cool. And then I saw like other things that he was in, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, the man is chops. But then this is just like the worst potential showcase of it in terms of like some of the dialogue and some of the things that they're really given. Kathy also has a couple lines where I'm like, bro, what is going on here?
Yeah.
But
What was the fucking line at the beginning at the fucking kitchen table where the little kid's like, oh, stop being such a slut, Kathy? Like, what? We got some fucking 8-year-old saying this shit that, one, doesn't even make sense, but two, just, did nobody look at the script?
Well, it was, yeah, you're right, because he wasn't even speaking in like a sexual way there. He was talking about like, he was doing like a podcast about different ways to die or some shit like that. The kid was like the first podcaster, but like,
Yep.
He was like Shia LaBeouf from Constantine. He doesn't know how to curse. Except in this case,
Yeah.
he's not some dumb fucking teenager. He is a kid who just why? Why was that in there?
that was odd. That was an odd choice, bro. Mad odd. But you're right about that. You're right about that. So, real quick, it's tough to decide where to start here. So we're going to start with these ghost seeing glasses, which sounds like a fucking skit that we've got here on DOTD, but it's actually not. Maybe we need to parody
Here
that.
from Ghost
but-
Games.
I mean, like literally. So there are these glasses, and I gotta say one thing real quick. So supposedly you can't see the ghosts without the glasses, except there's one or two scenes where they fuck up, and the people can pretty clearly see the ghosts without the glasses.
Oh, yeah. Like the end. Yep.
Yeah, the end.
Yup.
Like when they're killing Cyrus, and he doesn't have the glasses on, but he's like looking around at all the ghosts as they kill him. And I'm just like, okay, bro. But kind of past that, at the start, at least, they tell you that you need these glasses. They're like glasses with some kind of, I'm assuming like UV or infrared light or something like that flashes across. So like you can see the ghosts, which kind of begs a bunch of different questions. But do you like the concept of having like glasses to see the ghosts?
No, I think
Oh.
it's kind of dumb, or at least how they implemented it anyways. I feel like it almost made the ghosts seem not real until you could see them, which I know isn't true because obviously like there are some characters that get fucked up by the ghosts when you can't see them. I feel like it made when the characters couldn't see them and somebody was being killed or attacked, I feel like it made it goofy because other characters could see them. And I don't know, it was weird. And then to kind of play on what you guys were saying earlier about all the cuts and the ghosts disappearing and reappearing, I thought it kind of made that a lot more difficult to follow too. Is like,
Yeah.
okay, whose perspective are we looking through so we can or cannot see the ghosts or, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nico, where you at with that?
I think that the conceptual design of it could be well done if the film's production value and level of competency was just like way fucking higher. Like if this was something with actual like really really intelligently thought out cinematography and well-paced set design and scenes that have just construction so that each scene is visually distinct from each other, then I think it could be really cool, especially if they play with some like first person shit in there. Cause there are times that the cuts reminded me of, something out of, I was about to say James Wan, fucking, oh God, what's his name? Cloverfield, James something. Okay, well, never mind. It comes from the same sort of stylings as almost Blair Witch type. J.J. Abrams, that's his fucking name.
This motherfucker said James.
Yeah, that begins with a J. Suck my dick.
Is the first J James? Is his name James Abrams?
I hope so.
I fucking hope so too, because man, his parents must have been tired in the birth room. Man, so nice they named him twice.
Yo, fucking TJ Miller was in Cloverfield?
J. Jonah Jameson. Oh, sorry, different JJ character. Anyway,
Same
we're all over
concept.
the place.
Keep going. Talk or talk.
Yeah,
Glasses.
no, I think the glasses could have been done better if the entire movie was done better, but as it stands, it looks like Spy Kids, but aged up to be scary and goofy.
So I'm going to say this. I thought it was interesting at first because there's pretty clearly like a light inside the glasses. And I was thinking what it is the light like hits the glass. And so it allows you to kind of look through it as if you're looking at it through a UV thing. And the observer effect where if you see something, sometimes the molecules in that change. And that was how the ghosts are able to be visible when looking at them through the glasses. I was thinking
that's
about
already
that.
more interesting than this movie.
But then I was thinking, well, if that worked, you could probably invent like a flashlight or something like that that could be shown on the ghosts so you could see them. And I thought personally what could have been really cool is if the basement originally had like UV lights up and stuff like that or whatever it is. And then like the power got cut though to the lights. So like you would be able to play with darkness in that. And that to me would have made it a little bit scarier. If like there was a little bit of thing there.
This could have been a really good film to utilize 3D, and I feel like they fucked that up big time. Because I feel like this could have been a movie that it really incorporated the extra medium of the glasses, the shit that you wear to make it a little bit more, immersive. Given that this is one of the set pieces of the movie, like the whole glass thing, oh, you got to wear the glasses to see the ghost. Like, I feel like that could have made it pretty immersive and pretty unique for the time. And, well, they fucked up.
Well, speaking of fucked up, I want to talk about the house again real quick. So we kind of touched on this when we were all talking about set design. Dan, I kind of want to get your thought here first, which is, I mean, you are a master of real estate, and the family is definitely very mesmerized when they walk into the house. Maggie's like, oh shit. Like everyone's like, yo, like this is like a really cool house. Except I'm sitting here the whole time like, no, it's not. Is that just me, or did you have the same feeling? How did you feel about the way the house was designed, the corridors, the glass?
It makes for an interesting movie, but I would have sold that shit immediately. Like, fuck no, I don't want to live in that kind of house. And like, even the characters are like, man, I hope the bathroom is in a different area or something because everything is glass. You can see through everything. Like, fuck. And the fucking heating bill, bro? The heating bill? Air conditioning bill? Bro, it would be a nightmare. So, yeah, I would sell that shit immediately.
Dude, piping AC into that house would be a bitch too, because with all the glass, it would like separate up too much regions of the house. You're going to have to like, oh man, that's tough. You're right. The heating, and it would just escape all over the place.
It would be a dope spot for laser tag, though.
Oh, that would be kind of cool. No,
I don't know. Rad for laser
I feel
tag.
like I'd be running into the walls all day.
The walls?
Yeah.
Well, you could. They're shatterproof.
Oh, yeah.
Except for when they explode and break at the end.
They're also soundproof until they're not.
Yeah. There was a scene where Matthew Lillard's character is like talking to Maggie, and they're separated by about 2 or 3 panes of glass. And he's like, look, and she's like, my bad. And they can hear each other perfectly fine, despite this supposedly being soundproof. Tough times. So, Nika, are you also throwing up the X on the house? Because I totally am.
Oh yeah, big fucking time, big time. Like I might bring someone that I had, romantic inclinations there for a brief liaison, but nothing more than that.
Okay.
Flying Lotus, say less. The OG
Hey, man.
Flying Lotus at that.
Mm.
So I want to know now real quick about Cyrus, right? So we talked about Cyrus a little bit. I want to go a little bit deeper into the man. So we kind of have an understanding here where he's got this whole concoction, as you will. He needs that 13th ghost. So it turns out, and we kind of
No.
summary.
Say it right.
Thir13en Ghosts.
Thank you.
So
please continue.
he needs the 13th ghost, which
You
needs
just
to
did
be
it again.
No, I
Say
said
it
the 13th
right.
ghost. I'm not talking about the 13th.
He needs the Thir13th ghost.
Yes, the Thir13th ghost.
What's so
Are you
hard
happy
about
now?
that, Justin?
He needs that.
Thir13th. What's so hard about that?
He needs that particular ghost, which needs to be a ghost of love
There you go.
to finish out his machine. But at the same time, I guess he needed it. He hand selected his brother so he could kidnap his kids, so he could power the machine. I don't know. To me, a lot of this really doesn't make any sense because why did he have to fake his death? He could have just had somebody go to his house.
Also, Kalina's whole betrayal arc, there was no weight behind it at all.
It's like at the beginning of the movie, she's like against him, against
Right.
Cyrus.
Yeah.
And then, so what's even the point of that? If they're actually together, why even have that whole thing at the beginning?
Hey, Dan, you want to know something even better than that?
What?
So remember what I said earlier, right? In the description, she's got all the C4.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
If the whole point is to convince Arthur to kill himself, why even give him the option of C4? Just tell him the only way to stop this is to sacrifice yourself.
And who is Kalina's love at the very beginning who dies?
I don't know. It's a random ass dude.
Some motherfucker.
Mad questions unanswered, bro.
Yeah.
But the plot was a little convoluted when you look at it that way. Also, I want to quickly here, kind of get into this in terms of being a haunted house story. Strictly speaking, so let's kind of get rid of the plot here. Just people wandering around in a haunted house. How'd you like this in terms of that, Nico? How'd you feel about that?
I feel like it could have been, again, really, 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 really cool if done with a better studio. Like, the idea of, it's just the basement that's haunted is simultaneously interesting, but also silly, because unfortunately, this plays with the same rules of Thir13en Ghosts, that being, it's consistent until it's not. The ghost can stick down there until they go upstairs. So, what was the point of even having that there? Just call it I don't know. This is some shit that I feel like if the OGs, fucking the Warrens were here and they saw this, they're like, yo, we did this in a room. What are you doing? We got all this in just our living room. Why you got to do all this?
Fair. Dan, in terms of a haunted house, where do you sit on this one?
I don't think it's very strong. I do like the concept of the characteristics of the different ghosts. I thought they were kind of cool. But what I don't like is, in a haunted house story, there's usually a reason why the ghosts are haunting or there's some sort of backstory there. And none of these ghosts had that because they were just ghosts that were captured and put into the house. There. Yeah, so they're not really haunting the house. They're just there. They have no reason to be violent towards anybody aside from, I guess they were just, one or two of them maybe were just violent in life, but there's a couple who didn't seem like in life they were particularly violent. I don't know.
Yeah, there's this big ass baby who just turns to a murderer, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, not really strong on the haunted house part, I would say.
I'm in agreement there, and I feel like they messed it up, man, because a lot of people died in the intro. And I'm like, no, man, these people need to be dying in the climax.
Yeah.
They
blew their load early.
I talk about it all the time. But literally, I hate it when movies like this need big kill counts to really big up the ghosts. You've got 12 different fucking ghosts. And one dude, the lawyer, gets, kind of speared in half or whatever, sliced in half by some glass doors. You've got, which, by the way, remember Wishmaster?
Mm-hmm.
Wishmaster had more consistent logic than this movie.
So when Dennis dies, it's kind of a brutal death too. But, and I guess Cyrus does get chapped up in the machine. But aside from that, like, nah, nothing really bad happens in terms of like in the house. And I feel like for so many people to die at the start, and even the lawyer dies fairly early on. And then we've just got like a long time where the ghosts are like, ooh, gonna get you. And then everyone, oh no, they run away. It's ironic that you mentioned Matthew Lillard was Shaggy because it was very Shaggy-esque. How like they just kept running away from shit. And I don't know, man.
Yeah, why did they blow up the big fucking Oculus X Inferni or whatever? Like, they mentioned how the walls can't be blown up, except they can. But the machine, like, comes apart fairly easy. It's dead ass just a bunch of gears.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
All she did was turn it off, and it was like, oh, I can't handle being turned off, and it exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go adjust the faders on the mains real quick. That'll help it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That just didn't really mess with me so much. And also just as a ghost story in general, I mean, group poll really, but I think it kind of fails as a ghost story.
Yeah, this is something where like the extra scenes and deleted scenes, I know for a fact go into more detail on the ghosts, and like it's really interesting stuff. And it just boggles the mind why they wouldn't include any of that. Because this isn't already a very long movie. I feel like they could have had at least maybe like 10, 15 minutes of a little bit of exposition for each of the ghosts instead of just, this is the Juggernaut. This is the maiden who got stabbed. And that's it. That's all the character development they get.
True enough. Oh, there's also one ghost. I feel like I got to bring this up. Why was there a ghost, like a chick who was just running around topless?
Just for titties.
I get it. And like in a primal way, I appreciated it. But at the same time, I was like, this feels wrong.
She was running on topless because she was trying to get to the bottom of it.
Oh.
That's a bar, bro. That's going into a song, bro.
Hey, man.
But yeah, that's all I really had as far as deep dive discussions to this movie goes. But y'all want to hear a quick piece of trivia?
Sure.
So this movie, as you may or may not know, is kind of a remake of this movie that came out in 1960 called 13 Ghosts. And one thing that I will really point out is, do you know who the impoverished nephew is in the 1960 version?
I'm gonna take a guess, and no, don't tell me. Is it Shaquille O'Neal?
Close. It's actually somebody named Cyrus. So I guess that was kind of like an homage to the original when they did that, but I don't know. And also when I just kind of like, I feel like we totally should watch the 1961 because A, it's only an hour and 15 minutes, but B, hour 20. So it's not that long and it seems cooler just based on that. Also, it appears that it has elements from House on Haunted Hill too.
Yep.
Because those two movies are very similar. So I don't know.
House on Haunted Hill's better, but yeah.
I agree, but I digress. I want to talk to you as well though about what would you do. So okay, DOTD stamp, we fucking go to the house like what the fuck is this and leave, right? That's kind of like the official stance. Yeah. Okay, but let's just say we happen to get tricked into it. Maybe we get like seduced into the house or something like that. And now we're here and the ghost start to come out and we're in the basement, right? So it's three of us and maybe a couple more people. What's the plan? Do you split up? Like was suggested earlier on in the movie, oh, split up to cover more ground. Like, would you split up or would you just be like, no, bro, and start looking for an exit?
No, bro. We going
and start
slow,
looking
bro.
for an exit.
Yeah, fuck my kids. I'm out.
I'm going to be very honest as well. I feel like they could have really broken that glass if they tried hard enough.
Especially because it breaks later in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like there's like a lot of shit in the basement, and yes, you may not be able to necessarily break it with your fist, but that type of glass, like, you can, like, if you hit it with something that's like a kind of concentrated thing over and over and over and over and over again in the same spot, it will eventually break. It's proof, not like invincible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's personally what I would do. But let's say, would you ever try to reason with one of the ghosts? Do you think the ghost could be reasoned with?
No.
Damn.
Maybe. I only say that because I feel like there were a couple times when they find a ghost and like Dennis is like, okay, back away slowly. And I feel like that almost means that there's some sense of like intelligence or something in the ghosts, you know, that they're just not attacking immediately or killing immediately. Now, granted, every time they start backing away slowly and then the ghosts do start attacking. So I don't know if it's that effective, but I don't know. Maybe there's some way to, I wouldn't try to like talk to them, but I would maybe not just like run away 100% of the time. Maybe try to like outwit them or something.
You know what also didn't really make a ton of sense though? They said, sorry, I realize this is what would you do? Well, what I'm doing is talking about this movie. So literally,
Soul podcast is that.
They talked about how all the ghosts were, like Dan said earlier, they were all like dying in really violent ways. So they were like violence, they were in like a violence realm, and violence was all they knew. Except the mom is totally chill, which doesn't make any sense.
And for all we know, the kid just got no-scoped out of nowhere with a crossbow bolt. So
yeah, there's a kid with like an arrow in his head, and it's like, what happened to this dude?
He just got fucked up.
Yeah, and I was like, he doesn't really, I mean, if the mom's not malicious, the kid shouldn't be either. So, I don't know, bro. I don't know. That just didn't make much sense to me. Also, yeah, it was kind of a subpar What Would You Do? But it was also kind of a subpar movie. And speaking on that, let's go ahead now and talk about the critic score. Give me your guess. Give me your guesstimate. Where are we at with this one?
Low.
How low can you go?
35.
Nico, hit me.
I'm going to do reverse of the title and say 31.
You're both wrong. But Nico, you're closer. It's got a 17% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes.
Holy shit!
Ouch, buddy. 48% from the audience, though. So, why don't you go ahead and tell me your thoughts on the movie and give me a score.
So, this was an interesting amalgamation of stuff.
Oh?
It felt like a kid's adventure movie, like, I don't know, Page Master or something, except like violent adult version of that. Because like they get into this house and it's like, oh, what's this like mysterious ancient house with all this writing and shit in there? Well, not ancient house, but house with all this writing, and it felt like they were like trying to discover ancient artifacts or something. But at the same time, it's a horror movie and there's a bunch of crazy killer ghosts downstairs. And as we've kind of discussed, the dialogue is horrible. As much as the actors themselves can be great, I thought some of the lines and everything was delivered pretty poorly as well. There's just not a lot of great stuff going on. The special effects I thought was really good. One of the shining examples or shining things of the movie. But all in all, it was a mess of a movie. I'm going to give it 31. No, I'm going to give it a 24.
Whoa. Jesus.
24.
Fucking A.
Nico, you want to go ahead and go, bro?
Yeah, I'm also going to give it I'm going to give it a 25. Just because Matthew Lillard he's one of my favorite actors. And like I said, he really does steal the show every time he's on screen. But everything else, this movie's a fucking mess, man. I really wanted to like this one. I really did. But I don't. I'm sorry.
Jeez. Well, my name's Justin, and I'm here to say that I'm probably going to give this one a 30. Like, it's not a good movie. Like, it's really not a good movie. And to be honest, now I know. Listeners, if they heard me talk about ghost stories, will say, but Justin, you gave Ghost Stories a higher one. Right. If you remember, I said that the reason why I was giving Ghost Stories a larger number was because of all the work, plot aside, all the work on the movie from a technical aspect was really stellar.
That movie was made really well. You just fucking hated it.
Yes. And I'm big enough to see that. But this particular movie, while I may not be as venomous in my critique, I still think that on a technical level, it's a mess in so many ways. And I just think for a big budget movie, there's not really an excuse for that. If this was like an indie movie, I could forgive so much. If this was an indie movie, I could forgive so much. But I think they spent something like 48 million and had a return of about 68, I think. So it was a big budget movie. These are big names. I just feel like this was a total waste of the talent involved. And I mean, can we move on to the recommendation? Because I feel like I'm going to just flow into this here a little bit. I can't see myself recommending this to anybody or anything when there is literally so many better, like the haunted house subgenre of horror is chock full. Like there's so many better movies out there.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even seen the 1961, but I bet you it's better. Like
It has to be.
straight up, it was worthy enough of a remake. So why not? Go watch House on Haunted Hill. Go play Betrayal at the House on the Hill, the board game. It's better. Like sincerely, any haunt you get at the end of that is going to be better than this movie.
Especially the owl one.
That was funny.
So, is it the same from y'all too, though? I'm assuming you don't recommend this movie.
Oh, hell no.
No, man. Like, I've been thinking this entire time, like, is there any redeeming factor? Like, maybe if you got really fucked up and watched this, but I feel like that would just be frustrating and confusing.
Yeah.
This isn't
Yeah.
even worthy of, like, being magical. This is just bad.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
It's funny because I kind of watched this with like the expectation and the hope that, because we haven't had a lot of conflict on the pod recently in terms of opinions. Like I feel like we've been pretty stratified in terms of like
that's true.
where we've been at. And I was like, okay, 13 Ghosts. And even at the start, I was like, oh, like Nico told me, and Nico kind of dropped a hint to me and Dan that he was like, oh, I think this one is not so great, teehee. And then I was like, oh, this movie doesn't seem that bad. Yeah, we'll probably have some, I think I'll give this maybe like, I was thinking like a 60, maybe a 70. And then like every minute the movie went on, my score just like ticked down
Just
lower
like,
and
oh,
lower
no.
and lower.
Oh, no.
The culmination of that was a miraculous scene at the end where Arthur does a jump and there's like a machine with like a bunch of different whirring almost blades. And somehow Arthur, at the behest of Dennis's ghost, Dennis is like, the power's in you. And I was like, what's good, Captain Planet? The power's fucking yours. And then he just like jumps through the fucking hoops and like lands next to his children, and the house crumbles and they're in the basement, so they should be more fucked. But the house crumbles and he gives them like a security hug and it's all okay. And fucking Dennis's ghost is just chilling there creeping. And I'm like,
He's like, as
bro,
I planned.
yeah. And I'm like, what's going on here? And God, there's so many half-assed like motivations in this movie. Like Dennis actually tries to slip in, like he knew damn well they caught Arthur's wife as one of the ghosts. And he was like,
Yeah.
I didn't know. And like, I'm just trying to like help you. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Because think about it, right? He says, I was just trying to help you. But I mean, it's just, God, so many things don't add up. And you know what the dead ringer was at the start of this movie? Really and truly, to let you know Cyrus was still alive?
What's that?
They caught the 12th ghost. Who the fuck put the 12th ghost in the house if Cyrus was already dead?
That's a good fucking point.
The machine. It was all the machine. Because the ghost goes into the machine and then it disappears.
And I feel like that's just, they did that just so we could say ghosts in the machine and I spit on them for that. Not them, but like the concept
Yeah.
of that. Like, come on, man. Come on. That's so wrong. Any other thoughts though? I just kind of ranted a little bit. That was just for rant. That's more of like an event. But anything else you guys got? Great
No.
movie though. Great movie though.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So we're gonna give this one a pass, audience, and by a pass I mean a fail.
This
And-
is literally one of the worst movies we've ever seen on the pod, and I didn't think
Oh.
it was going to be this bad.
I think this is up there with Leviathan in terms of
Yeah.
how low the scores were, but I'm pretty sure Leviathan actually edges this one out. I think this is the actual cumulative between the three of us lowest rated movie we've seen on the pod.
Probably,
so.
man.
It is. And with that, dear listener, we want to hear from you. If you like this movie, reach out
You're
to us.
wrong. No, it's fine. We get it.
It's
Cult
okay, it's
classics
okay.
are a thing.
And if you didn't like this movie, still reach out to us. We're on Twitter and Instagram at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook. Don't open that door. Plus, you can catch good movies and every episode we've done on our website. The reviews of them. We don't actually host movies on our website. That's dotdhorror.com. But till then, keep yourself good.
Don't go into weird fucking houses.
Dat. And always remember, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Ah.
But yeah, real talk, take
Bye.
care of yourselves, dear listener. And as always, don't open that door. Bye.
But if you need to open it and it doesn't work, just use C4. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Fucking that single-use key they had.
What a fucking shit key!